Thank you all very much for coming today. My name is Terry Hogue. I'm a retired firefighter paramedic and paramedic captain from the San Francisco Fire Department. My wife, Christine Ichim, is a really remarkable woman. In 1996, she was the first woman to rollerblade across Canada. She started in Victoria, BC, and 6 months and 8,000 kilometers later, she rolled into St. John's, Newfoundland. Along the way, she raised $160,000, $10 at a time, and she also brought a tremendous amount of awareness to leukemia research. She'll tell you why she did that when she appears, but I just wanted to tell you right off the bat that's what's going on. A little bit about what brings us here today. As I said, I was in the fire service for many years. I've lost a lot of brothers and sisters to cancer. And this was not something we ever anticipated when we started, but it's how it is now. One person in particular, Matt Alba, was a colleague of mine in the fire department back in San Francisco. I knew him when he was a recruit, and now he's a battalion chief. But along the way, unfortunately, Matt developed brain cancer, and he's still with us. He's fighting a very valiant battle. But I saw him the other day for the first time, and he's still Matt, but it's obvious that the disease has had an effect on him. And he's obviously not the only one. On the wall of the Firefighters Memorial in Sacramento, California, there are the names of over a dozen of my brothers and sisters who fell to this disease. So this is a very, very real concern for us. Christine, when she became aware of this, wanted to get involved, wanted to do something to help. And so she's organized this effort to bring awareness to cancer in the fire service. We wanted to say a few words about it today, beginning with our very, very welcome guest, NPP Laura May Linda, who was kind enough to take time from her extremely busy schedule to come show her support today. So first things first, ma'am, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so very much for doing this. I had a bunch of things I had in my schedule today, but I decided it was so important for me to be here. First, because it is amazing to see people like Christine and Terry do the advocacy that they are doing for people that need that additional support. But most importantly, because of a personal story that I'd like to share with you right now. September 27th is actually the anniversary of the passing of my late husband. My partner passed from leukemia. He had AML and was diagnosed in 2005. A lot of people, I speak about that fairly openly, but a lot of people don't know what happened when he was first diagnosed. There was no history of leukemia in his family. He was very healthy. He used to run marathons. We were very confused when the diagnosis came. And the doctors at Princess Margaret in Toronto said to us that they think that the leukemia was a consequence of his being a painter. He used to paint houses back in the day when they didn't check to see about lead and the amount of lead in the paints. The notion of the environments that people put themselves into in order to bring goods and services to us is something that I think we really have to pay attention to. It also reminded me of the fight that we were doing in my office for the rubber workers, who also spent so much time in this community, building the community, and then when they would contract various diseases, including cancer, they often were not accepted in the WSIB claims. And my office has done a lot of work to try and make sure that that decision was reversed, because we have to pay attention to the environments that we have people working in and the kinds of illnesses that they may get after that time. And that brings me to why I am so honored and blessed to be with you today, with both Christine and with Terry, as you have the same conversation with regards to firefighters, and in a space where we know that veterans also are putting themselves at risk, and sometimes the illnesses that they may acquire at the end of the day to keep all of us safe are things that nobody is paying attention to, and our systems aren't set up to recognize. And so I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to both of you for your advocacy. Thank you to everybody who is fighting for their loved ones to ensure that if they are putting their lives at risk for us, that the systems around them support them with love, care, compassion. And so for that, I'm just really grateful to be here today. So thank you again for having me and for the amazing work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you coming in and taking the time. All right. MVP Lindo brought up a really important point. Sorry about this. A really important point, which is that while our focus for this particular event was cancer in the fire service, it's certainly something that's everywhere. It's affecting our service members. It's affecting working people. As far as the service members go, here we are in this beautiful place, the Army, Navy, Air Force Club here in Kitchener. And we were able to use this space due to the kindness and generosity of the commander, Glennis Kavanaugh. If you're here, Commander, would you like to step up next, ma'am? She'd like to say a few words as well, talking about how this disease has affected her folks, the people whom she's worked with so closely over the years. Ma'am?
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Glennis Kavanaugh, President of the Army and Navy Air Force Veterans in Canada, Unit 247. Welcome, Christine and Terry. Thank you for choosing us today for your special event. These past few months have been very difficult times, and have been very difficult times, and our focus has been mostly been on COVID-19, taking our attention away from some other high priority diseases, such as cancer. We wish you all the best in your new plight, fighting cancer affecting firefighters. Remember, everyone is welcome at our club, at our unit, and we hope that you will visit again whenever you are home in Kitchener. We are always willing to help and support, and thank you again for all that you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm nervous. I don't speak good in front of the camera.
You did just fine, ma'am. Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you.
You said what needed saying. All right, to finish up, I'd like to go ahead and introduce one of the most remarkable women I know. Christine, come on up here.
Thank you.
Have a seat. You're welcome, sweetie.
Thank you so much. My fellow Canadians, it feels so good to say that. Thank you so much for joining me on the 25th anniversary of the completion of the Canadian Cure campaign. 25 years ago, I finished rollerblading 5,000 kilometers from coast to coast to raise money and awareness for leukemia research. 25 years ago, my mother had entered the accelerated phase of the disease. I couldn't just sit and watch her die. I wanted to give her hope, to show her that nothing is impossible as long as the human spirit continues to fight. I was 18. I told her I was going to rollerblade across Canada. Nobody thought I would be able to pull it off logistically. So she's like, okay, there. I had a stack of rejection letters this big. Everyone I contacted came back and said, no, we can't help you. And then something miraculous happened. The Army, Navy, Air Force Veterans Club, who stands shoulder to shoulder, stood up and said they would stand with me. They will come along with me for the journey, and they wrote me a check to make it possible. And for that, I am so grateful. I am just so grateful for everything you've done for the country, for all of your service, and for being there with me. When my mother, who was very protective, found out that I had the blessing of the Army, Navy, Air Force Veterans Club, she gave me her blessing. And she said, surely, with these people behind you and with the people of Canada behind you, you will make it back home safely. And I did. I got chased by a dog, I got chased by bears, I skated over mountains and into headwinds you could never imagine. I developed mononucleosis. It was the most difficult thing I ever did. But when I left, my mother said, if you make it, I'll make it. And it wasn't even about the money. It was about showing the people of Canada, the people of Kitchener, the people fighting disease, that we can do this. We can fight cancer. The human spirit is indomitable. So I thank you. I thank the people of Kitchener, the people of Canada. I thank Wayne Wetlaufer and Elmira Poultry, who provided me my home, a chicken van. I thank the Economical Insurance Group, who had members across the country supporting me, and my father, Father Ichim, who took out a bank loan so that I could finish skating without touching any of the donations. You know, without you, you know, the country I love and the people I love, this would not have been possible. Those who give of themselves to others seldom think of the risks they incur, especially in situations of life and death. Members of the service of Kitchener-Waterloo, they valiantly serve the community I grew up in, the community that will always be my home. When you think of the job of a firefighter, when you think of the job of a soldier, you think of the inherent dangers. You think of smoke inhalation and enemy fire, of structural collapse. You don't think that the biggest enemy is within our cells at the DNA level. You don't think that the greatest cause of mortality is after the fact. It's cancer. October 15 is the day I finished rollerblading across Canada, Leukemia Awareness Day. Kitchener-Waterloo is the heart of the technology triangle. I encourage everyone to stand up and to advocate for increasing funding to medical research and increasing workplace conditions. Research saves lives. My mother lived 20 years extra because of research. When I left to rollerblade across Canada, she had slipped into the accelerated phase and she had 6 months left to live. I came back home and she was still alive and she continued to fight. And then one day, I was at the American Society for Hematology annual meeting, and I'm sitting there in the background, and I look up on screen, and they were presenting results from the Gleevec trial. And I ran up to the scientists, I ran across this football field of a stadium, and I'm like, we have to get my mom on this drug. Scientists had discovered Gleevec. The research that we do makes a difference, and it made a difference to my mom, and she lived 14 years after I returned home, after she was given 6 months to live, because of the research we do. And so that is why this is so important, because we can make a difference. I love you, Canada. Today is a day to be proud. It is a day to celebrate the achievement of the human spirit. Each and every one of you, you've made a difference. I remember every high five, every person who honked, every person who donated $1 here, $5 there. I remember each and every one of you. I remember meeting Peter Jang and holding his hand before he died. I remember meeting with Pamela and Ruth and talking about their cancer journey. I remember each and every one of you, and you made a difference. You are the reason I finished the skate, and you are the hope for these firefighters whose greatest threat to life is not fire, but cancer. And for that, I thank you, and I will put on my rollerblades one more time.
Could you shift the chair out that way and then I can
Absolutely.
get that shot? Actually, in front of that table.
Okay.
Just come into the light. Yeah, that's better.
Terry?
I'm on it.
I love you, Canada. And I'm never gonna stop fighting for you.
Awesome.
Oh, we're gonna go outside.
So I'll get out first, and then I'll cue you to come out the door.
Okay.
You gonna do a sweet jump off the stairs?
You want somebody to do it? Just
No,
leave the
no.
door open?
Yeah, that'd be great, thank you.
Was it raining?
Ready?
One sec.
Okay.
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 All right, thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. Nice perfections. Thank you so much. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
So maybe I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. We'll do it out here, just for a different change of scenery.
Can you bring us some water?
You got it.
I'm still recording.
Okay. Do you want to stop and then start again?